What if the girl everyone underestimated, the one mocked for her muddy boots and old clothes, held a strength no one could see? This is the story of a quiet farm girl who faced cruelty every day, until one unforgettable moment changed everything. The sun was rising over the endless fields, casting golden light across the small farm where Lily lived with her father. Her hands were rough from morning chores, her boots caked with soil, and her clothes simple, always marked with patches. To her it was a life of dignity and love, but to the kids at school, it made her an easy target. Every day, Lily walked down the old dirt road to school carrying a second-hand bag, ignoring the stares and whispers. She wasn't loud, she wasn't flashy, and she didn't fight back. That silence made the bullies think she was weak. 3 boys, Brian, Kyle, and Mason, were the ringleaders. They came from wealthy families, wore new sneakers every month, and laughed at anyone who didn't fit their picture of cool. Lily, with her braided hair and dusty boots, became their favorite target. "Hey, farm girl," Brian sneered one morning in the hallway. "How's life with the pigs? Do they like your smell?" The crowd laughed. Lily kept walking, holding her books close to her chest. She had learned to let words roll off her shoulders, but sometimes they sank deeper than she wanted to admit. That day, in the cafeteria, things escalated. Kyle, bored and craving attention, decided to push things further. He blocked Lily's path and grabbed her lunch tray. "What's this slop? Did you cook it in the barn?" he mocked, dumping the food onto the floor. Gasps filled the cafeteria, and whispers spread. Lily bent down to pick up the mess, her hands trembling. That's when Mason leaned down and whispered, "Pathetic." Before she could stand, Brian slapped her cheek, loud, sharp, humiliating. The sound echoed. Her face burned, not just from the sting, but from the cruelty behind it. For a moment, the cafeteria went silent. Everyone waited to see if Lily would cry, if she would shrink further into herself. But instead, something shifted. Lily slowly stood up, her eyes no longer timid but steady and unflinching. Brian smirked, preparing to mock her again. But 1 second later, the unexpected happened. With a quick, precise movement, Lily grabbed his wrist and twisted. Brian yelped in pain before he even realized what had happened. Kyle lunged forward to help, but Lily sidestepped and pushed him back with surprising force. He stumbled over a chair and hit the ground hard. Mason tried to rush in, but Lily's elbow caught his chest, sending him tumbling beside his friends. Gasps turned into cheers. The bullies, who had ruled the school with fear, were now sprawled on the cafeteria floor, groaning in shock. Lily didn't raise her voice, didn't boast, didn't mock. She simply picked up her bag, turned, and walked away. That day, Lily wasn't just the farm girl anymore. She was the girl who had stood up. But the story didn't end there. That moment was only the beginning of something bigger, something deeper. Because what the bullies never knew was that Lily carried more than just hidden strength. She carried a painful past that explained everything. You saw the farm girl fight back, but what if I told you her strength came from scars no one could see? Chapter 2 reveals the truth about Lily's past, and how the moment in the cafeteria wasn't just about bullies. It was about healing wounds that had been buried for years. News of the cafeteria incident spread across the school like wildfire. Some called Lily a hero, others were simply stunned. For the first time, the bullies were silent, avoiding her gaze. But Lily wasn't celebrating. That night, as she sat on the porch of her farmhouse, staring at the fields under the moonlight, her mind drifted back to memories she rarely shared. Her strength didn't come from anger. It came from survival. Years ago, before her mother passed away, her family lived in a small town where her father served in the military. Lily was only 10 when her father began teaching her self-defense. Not to hurt people, he always said, but to protect yourself. Strength is not about fists. It's about knowing when to stand tall. When her mother's illness worsened, they moved to the farm for peace and affordability. Life was hard, but Lily learned resilience through every hardship. Each chore built not just muscles but discipline. Each lonely night built courage. The bullies at school never knew this. They only saw the quiet girl. They never guessed she could hold her own. But strength wasn't just physical. The day after the cafeteria incident, Lily faced whispers in the hall. Some students praised her, but others muttered that she had gone too far. A teacher even called her into the office, asking if she had started the fight. Lily spoke calmly. "I didn't fight. I defended myself." Her words carried a quiet authority, and for the first time, people began to see her differently. Not as a victim, not as a fighter, but as someone who embodied dignity. The bullies, meanwhile, were forced to face their shame. Brian's cheeks still stung, but not from Lily's grip, rather from the humiliation of being defeated by the very girl he thought was beneath him. Kyle and Mason, too, realized the school's laughter wasn't on their side anymore. One afternoon, as Lily left school, she found Brian waiting. His usual arrogance was gone. He shifted uncomfortably and finally muttered, "I'm sorry." Lily looked at him, her eyes calm. "It's not me you need to apologize to. It's yourself. You chose to be cruel. Don't let that be who you are." Her words stunned him more than her strength had. It wasn't revenge, it wasn't hatred. It was forgiveness, offered with dignity. In the weeks that followed, the bullying stopped. Not just toward Lily, but toward other students too. Something had changed. Lily had broken the cycle of fear. And as she stood once again in the cafeteria weeks later, she noticed something different when she walked in. People didn't laugh at her boots or her bag. Instead, they moved aside with quiet respect. Her father, when he heard the full story, simply nodded. "Your mother would be proud," he said. "You used your strength the right way." And Lily realized something profound. True strength isn't in knocking others down, it's in standing tall, even when the world tries to make you small. So, what do we learn from Lily's story? Never mistake silence for weakness, and never believe cruelty defines who you are. Sometimes the strongest people are the quietest, and the biggest victories are not in fists, but in the courage to rise above hate. If Lily's story inspired you, remember, kindness, dignity, and hidden strength can change everything. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Story Sphere for more powerful stories like this.